Hi, everyone. Nina Perez here from DanceToday.FUN, and I'm interviewing Rebecca Bennett from Rebecca Bennett Photography today. This is an interview sponsored by All Dressed in White Wedding Shows, which we are part of, and we've enjoyed being part of that and meeting all the couples. And today we are here with Rebecca. Welcome, Rebecca, and we're going to ask her all about photography. Rebecca, can you tell me a little bit about your story with photography? And welcome.
Well, it's nice to meet you. I actually met my husband when we were 12 years old, when we were in high school. And my husband was on the yearbook committee, and he didn't really want to go around taking photos with the camera. So I offered to do it. And I ended up taking photos of the football team, the track team, and all the other sports teams. And then my photos ended up in the yearbook. So it kind of like created something for me. And then after that, I just ended up taking over his camera once we actually started dating, once we were 17. And then after that, I became that super annoying person that showed up at all my friends' weddings, hiding behind the main photographer, capturing my own shots, realizing now I might have been overstepping, but lesson learned. And then I ended up showing up at a friend's wedding, and their photographer was a no-show. I happened to be there. I happened to have my equipment with me that I ended up asking them if they wanted me to take over their wedding so that they didn't have to necessarily worry about it, because I felt pretty comfortable with it. She ended up accepting. And then from that wedding, I got 4 bookings, and then it just moved forward from there.
Grew from there. That is amazing. Like, does that actually happen? Photographers, I mean, you never do that, right? Not showing up. That would, give me a lot of stress. So it sounds to me that you've been doing this for like a long time. How long have you been a professional photographer?
So I have been a photographer now for 17 years.
Wow.
And then I ended up starting my own business that this is all I've been doing ever since 2011. So this is my full-time job. This is all I do for work, which is nice because then my turnaround time for my clients is a little bit on the quicker side, just because I don't have another job to go to. That I do my photo shoots on the weekends, and then I come home and I got chaos behind me.
Is that your cat?
Yeah.
I'm like, what kind of chaos? Right. So you do this full time.
Yeah. Monday to Friday is my editing time. Weekends is when I go out and I photograph.
Awesome. So are you finding that most of the weddings are on the weekends, or has that changed during the pandemic?
Definitely during COVID, weekdays are definitely more of a thing. For an example, last week I did a wedding on Thursday and Friday. I had 8 photo shoots on Sunday, 6 photo shoots on Monday. And now this week coming, I've got 3 weddings on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So
you are very busy. Is this because of your pricing? Can you tell me a little bit about your pricing?
So yes, because this is my full-time job, because this is all I do for work, I get the joy that I've actually never had to pay for daycare with my daughter. My daughter's now 11 years old, and she's 11, which she was born in 2011, which is the year that I started my company. And so I ended up creating a package and a price when I was getting married, what I wanted. And so what that includes is the entire day of the wedding, where my entire price is $1,500. All taxes are all included. Wow. It covers the entire day of the wedding. I'm there for the girls getting ready, the ceremony, the formals, the bridal party, the bride and groom, the reception, all the way until the first dances, with no time limit that's actually put on that. So it makes it stress-free for the bride and groom leading up to the day of the wedding, that they feel like if they want to spend more time and talk and mingle with their guests, it's not about me. It's not about, okay, you have 15 minutes left and we have to do the garter toss, flower toss, the first dances. It's not about that. It's about their wedding, and it makes it stress-free for them.
That is amazing. Can you tell me a story of one of your favorite weddings?
Some people don't understand the benefits of having a second photographer, but at one specific wedding, it was a really sad wedding, and the grandmother of the mother of the bride was, she had 3 months to live. Oh. And so, we fast forward the wedding, we bumped up the date, and I happened to be there with my second photographer. And the bride ended up having a first dance with her mother.
Oh,
So
that's
she's on the
amazing.
dance floor
Yeah.
and I'm capturing that. What I wasn't expecting, because I just had the mindset of these are special moments, these are important, make sure I capture everything that I can capture for this couple because everything is so sentimental with this one.
Yeah.
So I'm capturing the bride dancing with her mom, and I could hear people crying behind me, but I'm so focused on what's in front of me, I can't turn around and
Mhm.
capture what's happening behind me. So I'm having like a dilemma of what do I do here because my focus is the bride.
Right.
And so I keep focusing on her. And then my second photographer ended up coming around and she started photographing the people that were behind me. And it turns out the ones that were crying behind me were the grandbabies, which were 4, 5, and 6 years old. And so just having moments of like, them cuddling up, crying, and supporting one another. My second photographer was able to capture that while I was still able to capture the moment with the bride and her mom. So it's kind of like people don't understand the importance of having a second photographer, but the second photographer is there to capture everything that I can't. It is physically impossible to be in two places at once. And so
Yeah.
it's nice having someone else that has those extra eyes that can come in and photograph something that I can't.
And how much would a second photographer cost with your, I believe it's probably affordable with your pricing.
It is $500 to add on the second photographer. I do all the editing myself. What ends up happening is the second photographer is aimed towards the guys. I am all about the bride. I am all about the girls. I'm all about the girls' bridal party, the bride's family, everything that's happening on the bride's side. And then the second photographer is all about the groom, the groomsmen, the groom's parents, the groom's family, everything that's happening on his side. So when the bride's walking down the aisle, I'm capturing the bride coming down the aisle. The second photographer is looking at the groom's face, watching her come down the aisle. At the
Nice.
same time, when we're at the reception and I'm taking photos of like the people that are giving speeches and the head table, the second photographer is the one that's going out doing the candid photos. They're doing the tables that are cheersing, laughing, smiling, everything that I was so focused on the bride and groom, the second photographer is focused on everybody else.
That is beautiful. So tell me a little bit about editing. You were mentioning that you do all the editing. What are the kind of things that you would edit? And what is the maybe misconceptions about editing that people might not know or think, oh, this is edited, and you're like, no, that's not edited. Can you give us a little bit more of a background on editing?
Absolutely. It's kind of like a known thing that the majority of photographers will use Lightroom when they edit. Just, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that's their preference. I choose to actually edit my photos in Photoshop, which is a far more difficult program. And in Photoshop, you have to edit your photos one at a time individually. So when I tell my couples that they get 200 edited photos, each and every single one of those 200 photos are edited. What that means is I can whiten teeth, I can take out marks. If you wake up with a blackhead, pimple, I will take it out, I will remove it. There's other things like cords, wires, plugins, exit signs. As far as lighting and highlights and lowlights and shadows, all of that can be tweaked, all of that can be edited. And so let's just say you're getting married or an engagement session at the beach and there's people in your background. I will literally take the time out and Photoshop every single person out to make it look like you guys were the only ones at the beach that day.
That is amazing. So Rebecca, can you tell me if you have a couple that is doing a first dance that is different, not just the side to side, but they're doing salsa or tango or bachata, which is why they hired me for, how would you photograph that kind of dance? How would you prepare?
So it's one of those things like for any couple and whatnot, it's okay to like surprise your guests. It's okay to surprise your family. It's not okay to surprise your photographer or your videographer. We always need to know what's happening. We always need to know, okay, where are you going to be dancing so that we can set up our proper lighting and we can be at the right place at the right time. We just need to know where you're starting and where you're ending. And so what direction you're planning on facing. And so the thing about movement videographers and photographers can move around super easy. And so we tend to move around with the couple. And so it's nice to always have people in the background as well. So sometimes we go behind, but as long as we know that, okay, so your song is 3 minutes and 12 seconds long. Okay, I've got X amount of time left. I've got 47 seconds. I've got to be back at this place to make sure that I can capture the dip at the end or whatever that might be so that you're at the right place at the right time. But communication is key.
That is wonderful. And I do encourage my couples to, we videotape the whole routine pretty much through the whole process. We have 10 lessons or 6 lessons, and we videotape the progress. It's great to share that with your photographer so that they, like you said, are not surprised. Awesome.
Exactly. Open communication.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. Amazing. So here's my last question for you before we get into how people can get a hold of you is, what is a piece of advice that you would like every couple to know for getting ready to speak to a photographer like yourself or somebody else? Like, what would be your tip?
Okay, so my biggest tip when you're hiring a photographer is 1, ask them how long that they've been doing it for. And then 2, ask to see a full wedding from beginning straight through to the end. Most photographers will only show you the best of their work, but if you end up asking for a full wedding, then you actually get to see what they look like in low light and highlight situations where you can really see their abilities.
That is such a great idea. I never even thought of it. Because yes, you're right. Whenever I go to these wedding shows and I look at portfolios, you just see the best of the best. But seeing a full wedding is a great idea, just to see all the little moments. So how do we get a hold of you if someone wants to hire you? And I would recommend the second photographer, as you said, to get the full package. It's only $2,000, right? If I did the math correctly, taxes included. How do we get a hold of you, Rebecca?
Best way to get a hold of me is my Facebook page, which is Rebecca Bennett Photography. There is Instagram as well, but I tend to kind of favor Facebook a little bit more. Or you can always reach out and send me an email at Rebecca_Bennett11@hotmail.com.
Okay, and we will put that in the comments as well. And thank you. Do you have any parting words that you want to leave us with?
Just congratulations to all the couples. I wish you all the best. Even if you don't end up booking me for your wedding, I do actually hope that you guys take a moment, enjoy your wedding day, and just remember that there's 3 things that you take from your wedding, which is the marriage, the rings, and your photos.
That's right. Awesome. Very nice. Thank you so much. And we will see you at All Dressed in White, right? You have a table there?
I sure do.
Yeah. So anybody that doesn't know about this, All Dressed in White is a wedding show, and you can meet Rebecca and all of the other vendors and have real conversations with them, connect with them, and get to see their work. And so I assume that you will have a full wedding to show people what you can do, right, Rebecca? And you guys Absolutely. Can do that out there. So we will see you at one of the wedding shows. And thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and expertise. And have a wonderful day, everybody.